everyone, and welcome back to Kynos, the Art of English. I'm your host, Kira.
And I'm Snow. Today, we are really excited for this episode because we'll be talking about English learning, essence, confidence, and studying abroad.
Yes, and today we have a very special guest joining us, Khin, who is currently studying in the UK.
Welcome to the podcast, Khin.
Hello, Teacher Kira. Hello, Teacher Snow. This is Khin. I'm a second year accounting and finance student. I'm currently studying in the UK, and I'm very delighted to be a guest and in this podcast. And thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, and we are also very happy to have you here today. And I think this conversation will be really relatable for many English learners, especially students who dream about studying abroad someday.
So, let's start from the beginning. So, Khin, can you tell us a little about your English learning journey? Like, when did English become something important in your life?
Um, as I recall, my journey began when I just started studying English as a compulsory module back in my country, but um it wasn't as important as now back then because partly because I was seeing English as a lesson rather than a language. But um I'd say it has become important when I started studying English literature in Yangon University because well, to be honest, I didn't really understand almost every word in my lecture notes. I had to look up everything in a dictionary. So yeah, that's when I feel like okay, I need to understand English. Um English is now important for me, so that's when I started reading graded books.
That's very inspiring and also interesting journey. And I think many people study English for years in school, but sometimes there's a moment like yours when it suddenly becomes more personal or meaningful.
Exactly. And I'm curious, what helped you improve the most? Was it school, movies, social media, conversations, or something else?
I'd say well, the English speaking programs hosted by private schools in my country quite helped me in my English in improving my English. But that does but well, I wasn't really confident about speaking back then. So but I'd say um the movies and series, especially American ones, those are the ones that really helped me the most in learning English. Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of them too. And honestly, I feel like real life exposure, it completely changes everything. I mean, textbook, they can teach you grammar, but communication feels very different in reality, in real life.
True. Sometimes you know all the grammar rules, but speaking confidently is still difficult.
So, King, did you ever struggle with confidence while speaking English?
Yes, I would definitely say that because I did struggle with my confidence even when I first arrived here in the UK because I wasn't really used to speaking English. It's like it's like, I'll be honest, and translation process is occurring in my head. Uh, I I was like, okay, I'm going to say this in English. My first thought is in Burmese. Then I kind of put that into the translation process thing in my head, and well, and then I produce the English version. So it's like slow and word by word is coming out of my mouth. So yeah, yeah, my confidence is quite a struggle.
I felt the same way too. And I think that's something almost every English learner experiences, right? The fear of making mistakes. Yeah, that can be really stressful.
So now that you're studying in the UK, what was the biggest cultural shock for you, especially related to language or communication?
Okay, I'd like to go with what you would hear every day here in the UK. Um, when a native say when someone here approach you and say you're all right, that doesn't mean and are you feeling well? Is it anything wrong with your health? That it's basically from textbook aspects, it's just asking how are you. So all we have to do is ask them back, "You all right?" or "I'm good, thanks," and the conversation's over. And well, yeah, that's one difference between the textbook and the real life here. And another thing is, it can be shocking because, well, what what you would hear from British people doesn't um can't have indirect meanings from what they actually mean. For example, like when they say not bad, it can mean very good. When they say that's interesting, well, it can mean I disagree. And like when they say like quite good, and it doesn't mean it's really good. It's like only okay because mostly they tend to soft their tone even when they talk about something bad. And so yeah, the literal meaning and the social meaning is slightly different. Yeah, that's something we really need to be careful about.
Wow, that's such an interesting point. And was it difficult understanding British accents at first?
I'm afraid I would have to say so because everyone in my country, including me, we're like pretty much exposed to the language, like American English language, American expressions, like yeah. So but in here, it's like we have a variety of regional accents, and native here to speak fast, and we're not quite familiar with the slangs here. For example, like when you hear when someone says, "Oh, I'm knackered," that means I'm feeling tired. So yeah, and sometimes, well, not sometimes, British people like to connect words together, and sometimes they drop the sounds. Like, you might have seen this one. I'd like to have a bottle of water. That means a bottle of water. Yeah. So, okay. Uh, so I'd say it's like even if a student understands grammar and vocabulary very well, they can feel it can be pretty overwhelming at times.
Okay, that'll be a big struggle if I move to the UK too. And still, especially in our country, there are many learners. They are exposed mostly to American English. So suddenly hearing different British accents in real life must be really different.
Yeah, especially because people in the UK speak so naturally and quickly sometimes.
And Ken, did living there change the way you think about English?
Yes, I'd say so. I used to think like English is about perfect grammar for like exams, vocabulary lists, and correct answers, etc., etc. But as time goes by, I can see that it's not about English is not about that, but it's also about personality, humor, building relationships, and cultural understanding, and confidence, and well, including everyday survival. And well, the most important thing is fluency is not about being perfect, is about understanding people emotionally, and well, which matters as much as understanding words, and like um the ability it also matters that we have the ability to express our idea in a way that the other person can understand.
Okay, now let's talk about today's main topic, accents.
This is such an interesting topic because so many English learners feel pressure to sound native.
So, Khin, in your opinion, do you think accent is important when speaking English?
Well, I definitely disagree with that. I mean, that's the accent is definitely not an important thing because I'd say my own experience. I speak in a strong Northern American accent when I first arrived here, and well, it's completely okay, because there's no one who'd say, "Oh, your accent's like that," or like this or like that. There's no one to judge your accent. It's just you can say you can use whatever accent you have. Well, yeah. So, well, I'd say accent doesn't matter, but the thing is, what matters more than the accent is, as I mentioned earlier, the you can express your thoughts, your ideas, what you want to say, in a way that the other person understands.
That's a really good point. And I personally think people they should stop focusing too much on sounding perfect instead of communicating clearly.
Exactly. English is such an international language now. People from all around the world speak it with different accents.
And honestly, accents can also reflect our own identity and culture. So I don't think having an accent is something to be ashamed of.
Exactly. Sometimes an accent makes someone sound unique and memorable.
Hmm. So, King, how about yourself? Have you ever felt pressure to change your accent after moving to the UK?
Well, I I'd say I was never forced to change my accent throughout my journey as an international student in the UK. But I'd rather say my accent, the way I'm speaking now, is shadowed by the way people I meet on every day, like my classmates, my close friends, my module leaders, etc., etc. And well, yeah, it's not like I'm forced to change, rather like I'm shadowed. The way I speak is shadowed, but there's some exceptions. I know some people who force themselves to change British accent just because they love British culture and British accent. And well, that's an exception.
Wow, that's really interesting because I think many learners believe fluency means sounding British or American, but maybe fluency is more about confidence and connection.
Exactly. Communication matters more than perfection.
And Kin, do you think speaking English changes your personality in any way?
Well, it's not, vividly visible, but Um, English slightly did change my personality a bit because I am a quiet and cautious person in my country, and well, I still do for now, but the way I speak to others in my country is like a bit different from the way I speak to other people here. Uh, well, for example, like I speak to my module leaders, my teachers in a way that I'm speaking to a friend. Um, yeah, yeah. You can express your thoughts, your ideas directly to your module leaders, but that doesn't mean you have to, you know, be rude and just say whatever you want. You're still expected to use formal language and well keep professional. Yeah. So it's like I'm more reserved and culturally traditional in my country, but I'm more direct with classmates or my module leaders in here.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable. Sometimes people feel more confident, more expressive, or even quieter in another language.
Yeah, it's like language can shape how we express ourselves.
And after studying abroad, what does being fluent mean to you now?
Okay, so after studying abroad, being fluent becomes being being able to live naturally in a language and expressing our personality, our thoughts. I mean, instead of our thoughts, and and we're the ability to handle different situations, like an awkward situation, an emotional situation, or a spontaneous situation. And sometimes it's understanding the humors, the tone, the social cue, and even the sarcasms. And it's like mentally confident rather than perfect, to be able to join group conversations and sometimes expressing our real selves to our close friends.
I really love that answer because fluency is probably different from what we imagine when we're younger.
So, King, before we finish, what advice would you give to English learners who are afraid of speaking because they worry about grammar mistakes or accents?
Um, okay, I'd say a meaningful conversation is not about having an error-free grammatical or whatever error-free conversation, or a perfect vocabulary or advanced big words vocabulary. It's about um like the courage to speak, being clear, and consistency. Is completely okay to use small words instead of like big words, and it's not about a perfect accent, and it's completely natural. It's completely fine to forget words, mispronounce, or have an accent or make grammatical mistakes. Even natives have that, don't worry. But what real matters is, as I've mentioned, people can understand you, and we can keep the conversation going, and just our willingness to communicate and learn with others despite our imperfections.
That's honestly really encouraging.
I agree that. And I think many people need to hear this. Learning English is not about exams or grammar rules, it's about confidence, communication, and expressing yourself.
And Khin, thank you very much for joining us today. This was such a meaningful conversation.
I agree. And thank you once again. Thank you, Teacher Kira and Teacher Snow, for having me as a guest in this podcast. And I'm really delighted to be a guest and to be able to discuss about accents, learning English language in this podcast.
And thank you everyone for listening to Kynos. We hope today's episode reminded you that your voice matters, no matter your accent.
And don't forget to follow our podcast for more conversations about language, learning, and personal growth.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
ご覧いただきありがとうございます。